This is Josiah Plays Tyranny. Off we go to Tunon's court. I'm so excited right now. It'll take you 2 days and 12 hours to complete your journey from Mountain Spire Vendrian's Well to Tunon's court. It's a long way. City looks like a dirty ashtray, says Anonymous. It's got these, I want to know about these huge holes. It's got these huge holes in it from the conquest. They appeared on the little metal indicator thing during the conquest map thing. But I don't really understand what they're all about. Looks pretty neat though. Let's go. Travel, 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 travel time. Ooh, look at this loading screen. This looks like a cool place. There's like black, shadowy, wispy stuff coming up out from the floor.
You learn something every day.
Oh, I just leveled up just by showing up here. Quest updated, the voice of Kairos. Tunon's court is in session. Approach him and tell him what happened at the Vendrian's Well. Sweet. Do I have any missives? I don't know. Let me check. Nope. I just got the one missive from Tarkus ever. And no more missives. But I leveled up. I leveled up. Okay, now my quickness and wits are both 20. I mean, it's 21 with the item I'm wearing, but 20 base. From now on, all future level ups, I'm going into finesse. All future level ups go into finesse from now on. Talent point. Oh, I'm starting on leadership now. Because I looked, there was nothing else in Magic that I want. I mean, don't get me wrong, there's some things in Magic that are kind of cool. They'd be alright, Chaos Blast and all that. And, you know, Charge Strike and whatever. But I don't need any of this other crap. I've got the things I needed, I've got my spell slots. Now everything else is going to go into leadership. So, what's the first thing in leadership I'm going to take? I've got three options. Option 1, Bandolier. Party gains 2 extra quick item slots. It's okay. Oh, and 50% potion effectiveness, which is nice. Add a marking effect to the thrust ability. That's kind of cool, except I never use the thrust ability. I do use it once in a while, but I don't use it very often. Or an extra weapon set. Yeah, these first tier leadership abilities kind of suck. Actually, I wouldn't mind an additional weapon set. That way Verse could have a dual wield weapon set to switch to use Skewer, and then she could switch back to her weapon and shield. An extra weapon set actually wouldn't be bad. I mean, I would really only ever use that on Verse probably, but then again, I could have 3 different kinds of staves on my mages so they could switch to different damage types depending on it. I mean, I could get fancy with it if I wanted to. I doubt that I need to do all that for this difficulty, but debuff durations? What do you mean debuff durations, Anonymous? I don't think any of these things affect my... Oh, you mean resolve. Put points in resolve. I don't care about debuff durations on this character. She doesn't debuff anybody. Think you can stack thrust effects from different trees? I think you're right. I think you absolutely can stack thrust effects. But still, I don't really want to be using thrust unless I absolutely have to. So I'll probably take... I mean, Bandolier could be useful. But I don't use that many consumables anyway. I think I'm going to go with Abundant Arms. And then next time, what will I get? I want to shop ahead. Aura of Will removes a harmful effect. It's a 1-minute cooldown. It only lasts for 12 seconds. It has a radius of 5 meters. Oh, more stuff that you get when you use thrust. Will of Command. Oh, this is the one I'll take. 1 minute cooldown, I give a 15% damage boost in a huge AoE for 30 seconds. Shit, yeah, I'll take that. But the good stuff that I really want is further down here in the tree. Like Arbiter of Knowledge and Resurgence. I really want that. That's a revive. Which I'm really going to need once I get rid of Lantry, because he's the only one that has a revive right now. So, good stuff. And this Undying is really cool. There's lots of cool ones down here, deeper in the tree. Second Wind sounds nice. Okay, let's get Abundant Arms, I guess. What does Mark do? 20 accuracy bonus. Till the enemy dies. That's pretty good, actually. I mean, if you use it on the tough boss character or whatever, and everybody gets 20 accuracy against that thing until it dies, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Anybody that's watching this, if you're watching the chat right now, this is what happens when you put two pedantic people in chat together. It just snowballs. Neither of them is ever willing to stop proving how smart they are. I'm going Abundant Arms. So now she can set up another weapon set for dual wielding. So which two weapons is she going to use? Now I have to actually decide. An armor pen. +4 accuracy applies to both weapons, which is pretty nice. I think I'll use Gutseeker as her offhand, and the Sundered Bronze Sword. Do I want to use anything else instead of the Sundered Bronze Sword? No. No. For the rest of these weapons, I think I'm going to sell. Not Red Rivers, that's her. Alright, so now she's got 3 sets. Which means she should be able to, if she does the same thing she does with her bow. So I've got her using weapon and shield, right? She's using weapon and shield. And whenever I'm in combat and I click on Eternal Flame, she switches out to her bow real quick, shoots this spell off, and then immediately switches back to her weapon and shield. I'm hoping she does the same thing with Skewer. I can use Skewer, she'll switch to her 2 swords, Skewer, and then switch back to her weapon and shield. That's what I hope she does. Because that's exactly what she does with Eternal Flame. So we'll see. We'll see, but...
You got it.
Look at that deflection. Graze to miss, 89%. Hit to graze, 89%. With 120 dodge. Oh, 120 dodge? I'm sorry, did I mean to say...
I got it.
I meant to say... It caps! There's a cap! There's a defense cap, wow. I didn't realize that. It capped out at 200. It should be 220. Still, 200 is pretty fucking high. $200 is pretty damn high. And that lasts for a while. But I think her, with her natural defenses plus Spectral Blur and Mirror Image on, should be basically invincible. As far as weapon attacks go. Obviously, she still has to worry about spells and stuff. But... deflection will help against spells as well, though. I literally have no idea what Saito and Anonymous are talking about. Level 7. Now I need to go find a trainer. Train me up in some lore. Is everybody else pretty... Oh, she's super close. She's fairly close, and he's halfway. Alright, anyway, we're here. We're gonna save the game. Court officers. Look at this court. Wow. Hey, Aurora's here. And Mockingblaze and Bitterquip. We know... Oh, other Fatebinders. We've seen these guys named before. And Sevius. A bunch of people we know are here. Oh shit, there's Tunon. He just floats on a cloud of shadowy whatever. That dude ain't fucking around. Oh, this place is cool. What's it look like? It looks like this. Tunon's court.
Will do.
Okay. That's the symbol of Kairos. The symbol under it might be Tunon's personal symbol. I think it is. I never even saw an Archon before Tunon showed up. Are they all like him? They say that Tunon has met the Overlord. Can you imagine? Tunon sent my boy to a labor camp in the north. I came to appeal his case. To beg, really. Be polite around the adjudicator. Yesterday he sentenced a man to be flayed in the city square. I'm sure that dude deserved it. Most Archons have followers, but not Bled and Mark. Hail Kairos! I'm getting better at remembering to say it. Accepting Kairos was a hard transition, but we're better for it, right? Just because I can't find any contradictions in Kairos' law doesn't mean they don't exist. Say that Tunon has met the Overlord. Can you imagine? There's no point in questioning Tunon's judgment. He knows Kairos' law better than we ever could. I secretly hope Kairos doesn't invite more Archons to the tiers. For all of their wisdom, they can do us great harm. Lady... Oh, we found somebody important. Oh, look. She's part of the Bastard City faction. Bastard City, cool. This well-dressed older woman stands apart from the milling crowds of nobles. She stares off into the distance, oblivious to your approach until you're right in front of her. Oh, greetings, she offers a reserved smile. Under Lucretius, formerly of Thistleholm, you have the look of someone who belongs here. A fate binder, no doubt? She nods. Do you need something from me? What are all these nobles doing in Tunin's court? She smirks and shakes her head. Trying to look brave, I warrant. But if you crane an ear to any of their conversations, you'll hear a different tale. 3 years since Tunon set up shop in the bastard city, we're still getting used to our new masters and figuring out what we can and can't ask of them. It's a Mobius Life. Thank you for the host. How's it going? It's a Mobius Life. Appreciate that host. She nods to the assembled nobles. These are smart, ring-plenty folk. The way they approach Tunon, you'd think they were raised under a tyrant's lash. Some have come to settle a grievance, others to pledge fealty. I've been standing around long enough to know that the adjudicator doesn't care for empty gestures. How has the bastard city fared since the conquest? The armies claimed the city in a quieter, more organized manner than I might have expected. I can credit them that much, to be sure. The outlying villages and farms are a little sparse, what with the Scarlet Chorus harvesting for new soldiers. Tunon has done a fair job of managing food shortages. Thanks to Chorus infiltrators, most of our officials were put to the sword before we surrendered. The chaos made the takeover easy for Kairos' forces, but controlling the city without any leaders to bend the knee was harder work. We've suffered our share of hardships, but it seems that Kairos wants us alive. That's a more generous outcome than some of us were led to believe. What brings a noble like yourself to Tunon's court? A frown cracks her pleasant demeanor. Like the rest of the frightened inbreds here, I came to see Tunon and ask him to right a wrong. My manor was destroyed during the conquest. I told the adjudicator my woes, but we didn't exactly see eye to eye. Tell me of yourself. I'm the daughter of a noble house. We were wealthy enough to live in the city, but our means beyond that were limited. My mother dealt in fish, textiles, and bronze. By the time I inherited, the business was taking care of itself. Thanks, it's a Mobius Life. She sighs. Of course, all of that has changed. Thistleholm is no more, and my name has none of its former weight. Even if we were still in business, Kairos' laws would stifle our trading rights. Perhaps it's better this way. Among other things, Kairos... Oh, we read this already. We already read about the trading laws. What is Thistleholm? A great sigh deflates her, like a balloon. It was my family's ancestral hall. The oldest stones dated back to the years when the bastard city was naught but a dozen roofs and wagons clustering for warmth. Compared to the houses of the great lords, it was nothing special. Age had softened the wood, and its queer placement in the warehouse district set it apart from the finer grounds where lords and ladies strolled for amusement. It was a mess, but our mess all the same. I would invite you over for tea. Something stronger, even, but it would only disappoint. You'll find naught there but a gaping hole. What happened? Collateral damage happened. When the adjudicator cast his judgment on the bastard city, he destroyed the districts of the corrupt merchant kings, their manors, their counting houses, and yes, their warehouses. Age-dignified Thistleholm collapsed as a massive sinkhole opened under her foundation. The bastard city's laws may not have been perfect by Kairos' standards, but my family followed them with respect and never took a copper ring more than we deserved. I can't help but feel that my estate was not the criminal Tunon had in mind during his sentencing. So what are you going to do next? That's the question, isn't it? I appealed to the adjudicator, thinking he would see reason. After considering my case for all of 8 seconds, he awarded me a belt of rings and a plot of land on the outskirts of the city. Well, sounds like Tune on the Adjudicator is pretty cool, when he's not having people flayed. Tunon told me to build anew and start farming. Farming! Can you believe that? She shakes her head. It's not even that I'm opposed to the labor. I think you're opposed to the labor, lady. This woman hasn't worked a day in her life. But we're in a war. I can't have the Scarlet Chorus breathing down my neck, raiding my crops, and Kairos knows what else. Tell her to hire protection. Stop whining. Made to serve the masses, not the individual. That one makes sense. I like number 1 and 2, but I think I'm going to go with number 1 because Tunon likes it more. Tunon's word is Kairos' law, whether you think it fair or not. Don't I know it? She huffs. Meaning no disrespect to you or your office, I never questioned the power of Tunon's word. I come from a long line of smart, ring-savvy merchants, but even I can't reconcile Tunon's justice with Kairos' law. There's something wrong about it all. Maybe Tunon knows something I don't, or maybe... She trails off, shaking her head in doubt. Yeah, I'm sure Tunon knows lots of things you don't. You presume to know more of justice than the adjudicator? No, that's not that at all. I'm saying that I don't understand Kairos' law as well as I thought I did. Maybe none of us do. People come here for justice. They usually get a version of it, but it's Tunon's version, not theirs. Half of the time, they don't even get what they wanted out of a ruling in their favor. She shakes her head. A deed to a farm, for instance. So she's complaining because justice doesn't happen to just be exactly what she wants. Welcome to not being an important noble that gets everything your way, lady. Not to put my own ignorance on display, but if more people knew how Kairos' laws worked, they might not come here seeking a ruling at all, even a fair one. Wow, Anonymous and Saito. What the hell are you talking about? Nox takes the deed to the farm instead? Yeah, you could have cows. And then you could be among your people. Tunon is a servant of law, but he's the Overlord's vassal as much as any of us. Sometimes it seems like he uses his position to twist everything in the Empire's favor. We're just pieces on a board, and he can move us wherever the law justifies that we stand. That doesn't sound, well, legal. It's exactly legal. It's like this woman doesn't understand the concept of what laws are. Kairos defines law. Tunon isn't one to change his mind. You should know better than to speak ill of the adjudicator. I can only endeavor to bring true justice. Ooh, I can be a little bit corrupt here. I could take a little graft. Well, I want to use some subterfuge, you know what I'm saying? Fascinating. Now, how much is my silence worth to you, ungrateful one? She blinks. Excuse me? If you show contempt for Tunon's justice, you can pay up now or in a labor camp. She regards you with tired bewilderment. I suppose that will teach me to confide in an agent of Kairos, won't it? All of the court's great claims of objectivity aren't worth the rags on my back. Lesson learned twice over. Lady Lucretius cuts a belt of rings and sends them skidding across the floor. She aims a look of quiet intensity your way. Keep your dirty rings. My boss makes them by the wagon load. I can pick up the rings. I can do some athletics things that I can't actually do. Or I can tell her to retrieve the... There's no reason to flex that much. I don't need to get all bajiggity. I'm just going to take the money. 200 rings? That's all she's... Hold on. Labor camp it is. I thought she was paying me some relevant amount of money. 200? Tune on! This lady was talking shit about you! No, I wouldn't rat her out, but... Thanks for the 200 rings, lady. My mother always said she'd pay good rings to see a servant of Kairos on her knees. Lady Lucretia shakes her head in disgust. She didn't like that. Lady Lucretius. I've been robbed by Kairos' servants twice. Justice has fled these halls. Okay, bye. You know, I'm curious about something, though. I'm very curious about something. What if... I was just thinking maybe she was going to give me a quest or something. What if I just did that and it was a bad idea because now I didn't get a quest from her or something? I just want to see what happens if I do the other thing, because something about that felt like it was a bad idea. Hopefully the loading screen doesn't take that long. It shouldn't. Okay, I didn't know this was going to take this long. Come on, loading screen. Don't be a loading screen of eternity. Oh, it's a Mobius Life is jumping into it. We have a new contender in the ring. Okay, hold up.
On it.
I used to think that counting rings was more useful than learning to read. These days I wonder. I haven't seen the North in years. Neither of you, I warrant. My father tried to bribe the adjudicator. The court sent him to haul supplies in the army's rear guard. I haven't heard from him since.
I'm on it.
Alright, hold on. Let's just talk to her again real quick. And, what do you mean? So if instead of doing this subterfuge thing, Tunon isn't one to change his mind. Unfair as it might seem, the ruling stands. I had no thought to dispute the ruling, but I appreciate the kindness of your tone all the same. It's an uncommon thing to find in the bastard city these days. Farewell, Fatebinder. Be well. Oh. Man. Hold on. That's lame. I thought something else was gonna happen. She was kind of acting like she wanted to ask me to do something, but no. She didn't have nothing for us. We're gonna extort her. we're gonna go back through this real quick. Thanks for the 200 rings. Bye. Okay, what are these people talking about? I can't even try to follow this conversation between Anonymous and Saito in my chat. I can't even do it. Any petitioners that displease Tunon would meet their fate in the pits below the court. Wow, this is Sparta pits. These are super deep pits, apparently, that they just throw people into if they displease Tunon. Holy shit, this guy's not messing around. Scarlet Chorus patrols linger outside of my house every night. I'm afraid of going to sleep. If I pledge fealty to Tunon, will he accept my daughter as a Fatebinder? I know many who fought in the war. What, me? Of course not. Tunon sent my boy to a labor camp in the north. I came to appeal his case. To beg, really. Court officers. The nobles were getting restless. Keeping the peace is a real challenge. The nobles have been lining up for days to voice their problems. Why we even listen is beyond me. Fatebinder, welcome back to Tunon's court. Give the order. I'll kick any of these stuck-up highboards down that pit. That's awesome. I guess I do have that authority here. I could literally tell one of these guards, go over there and kick that lady into the pit, and they would do it. That's good times right there. That's good times. You're a Fatebinder, aren't you? They said Tunon would hear my case next. Yeah, sure. Never seen Tunon touch the ground. I wonder where he sleeps. If he sleeps. Tunon expects much from his subjects. He holds you to a higher standard. Never seen Tunon change his mask, and yet the mask changes. I came here with questions about Kairos' law. Now that I'm here, I'm afraid to ask. Kairos is standard, an imposing sight for both conquered and unconquered alike. Bookshelves.
Can't do that.
Back to Fate, Tunon's court. Alright, let's see what's going on in the middle here. Well, a bunch of people we know are here. Here's the other three Fatebinders. They've been mentioned, but we haven't met them before. But Blood Mulch, we don't know that. But we know Bitterquip and Mocking Blaze. We know Aurora and Sevius. We don't know Albatronus. So let's see what's going on here. Let's all slowly walk into...
officers of Kairos' army, but your conduct falls short of my expectations. The court finds your accounts of Vendrian's well lacking, rife with misdirection and fallacy, fouled with baseless accusation.
Oh, Tunon sounds awesome. This dude isn't fucking around. The shadows beneath Tunon's cloak darken and flare around him. Murmurs of unease erupt in the court. I think I'm just gonna listen. Your Honor, I have relayed the events as I experienced them. You can well imagine why my version conflicts with his. She makes a dismissive gesture to the Scarlet Chorus representative. On my honor and that of the great general, I would sooner snap my sword than perjure myself before you, Archon. Oh, so you imply that falsehood comes easier to my lips than yours. You're a fool if you believe the Archon of Justice won't see through your lies because the disfavored think themselves better than an honest gang.
Silence. The contradictions in your statements will be examined, and falsities threshed from truths. If we find you have perjured yourselves, Bled and Mark will see to your fate.
Oh, that's the Archon Assassin. Falsities threshed from truths. I like the way this guy talks. The Archon turns and you feel his gaze upon you.
Fatebinder, we will start with the matter of the Archons. Graven Ash and the Voices of Nerat have declared war upon each other. In addition to violating Kairos' peace, they have thrown the conquest of the Tears into disarray. By all accounts, these hostilities began shortly after your arrival. Tell us what transpired.
I could lie to him. Seems like lying to Tunon is a remarkably bad idea. I don't think you're gonna fool him. The Archons could not agree on who should lead the siege and descended into accusations of treachery. It seemed a mutual spat. Disfavored were more deserving of the honor. Our tactics and training outmatched the Vendrian Guard at every turn. What balderdash! The disfavored couldn't tip over a straw hut if they had a week to strategize. Our howling mob was better equipped to overwhelm the Vendrian Guard. Our recruits were ready to throw themselves at the enemy. If only Ash and his legion would agree to a plan.
The Fatebinder presents testimony. I warn you both against speaking out of turn. Something more than a mere disagreement unraveled this campaign. But I will return to that in time.
Yeah, motherfuckers, you'll get kicked into the pit if you run after me again.
Let us speak of Ascension Hall. We have heard troubling accounts of your actions, including claims that you worked with the Oathbreakers known as the Vendrian Guard.
Again, I think lying to Tunon's a bad idea. I took the Citadel for Kairos. That's also a lie, though. Tunon likes me quite a bit, though. I have 3 favor with him. Almost 4. I took the Citadel for Kairos.
As you say. And yet that was not evident from your actions. All accounts claim that you sided with the Oathbreakers. This would be the very definition of working against the Overlord's wishes. Enlighten the court. How is this not treason?
Now all my diplomacy has to come out. As I try to talk my way out of this shit. Yeah, you're right, Nox. It is ridiculous that they're fighting with each other instead of staying quiet before Tunon even now. Yeah, I know, Nox. It does make sense, but apparently that wasn't really what I was doing. Didn't take sides, I took control. Nice. Oh, number 3 is solid. Now that's how you fucking talk about some loopholes and shit. If my actions were not true to Kairos' will, they would not have satisfied the Overlord's edict. There we go. It had to be okay because it worked.
Continue.
The Archon hovers in thoughtful silence. I can glare silently at Tunon! Tunon says continue and I can glare silently. Oh no. That's not the time to glare silently. Not the time. The edict stated that Kairos' servant must claim Ascension Hall. The resolution of the edict proves my loyalty. For a long while, the adjudicator hovers in silence, shadows trailing from below his robes.
I will consider this testimony at length. The court thanks you for it. Is there anything you wish to add at this time?
I have told you all that I know.
Your testimony is accepted by the court. The statements of our guests raise questions in my mind. There is much about this campaign that has caused me to wonder. A shipment of iron weapons was short on arrival. Where coveted iron is concerned, I don't believe it to be a clerical error. One of my agents recovered this seal in Echo Call. It belongs to a merchant collective. Lethian's Crossing is teeming with their kind. If you would root out treachery, I would advise starting there.
Apparently he's got a job for me.
Petitioners, leave us. I would have a private audience with the Fatebinder. Ascend and join me. You will find the way opened.
Ooh, a private audience. Now we're getting serious. He just vanishes. Quest updated, the voice of Kairos. Speak with Tunon privately. Tunon has summoned you to a private audience. He awaits you on the terrace above his court in the Bastard City. Oh, and they're all just leaving. Where are they going?
Will do.
Oh, they're just standing around over here. Well, now it's time for me to keep... Tunon waiting as I go around and talk to all these other people before going to meet with him. Thanks a lot, Mobius Life. It's a Mobius Life. I really appreciate it. Thanks for the host again. And, have a good one. Have a good one. See you later. So let's talk to the other Fatebinders here and see what they have to say. Nunnaval, Callio, and Rogalis. And look, they have some weak-ass defenses. I will not pretend to understand the strategic decisions you have made, but they are yours all the same. The Fatebinder of War claps you with excessive strength on the back, a greeting and a warning both. Even so, I am curious about your travels in the Tiers. Word has reached me regarding your negotiation tactics at Apex. I must admit, I'm impressed you made any headway with the Southern wretches. They are open to treason. It would seem they aren't as ignorant as the Archon of War would have us believe. Come, let us speak freely. Oh, suddenly I get to have a huge conversation with this dude. How were you signaled? How were you singled out to become a Fatebinder? I cannot speak for the other Fatebinders, but I joined the court when I was yet still a boy, and impetuous beyond reason. I had been imprisoned with a death sentence for the crime of desecrating corpses. He laughs loud. He laughs hard and hearty. It was nothing so exciting as you're no doubt imagining. I was merely burning corpses that awaited burial. Before the local authority could see me to the gallows, the adjudicator claimed me a great talent waiting to be realized, needing only to be steered. That's strange. Why was he burning corpses? And why was he picked? Why burn the bodies? Corpses piling in the streets spread plague faster than the filthiest of rats. I was but 10 and a weak fighter. I did what I could for my homeland. Why was it a crime? There was a time when even the Northmen were of superstitious stock. A time before Kairos brought reason to the realms. People of my city believed that, without proper rites, I was cheating our fallen warriors from returning to the land. Superstitious stock, huh? First hint at maybe anything approaching religion in this world. It's a good thing Tunon spared you. Tunon favor 1. Nice. Oh, I see. This guy's part of the Tunon faction. As I have said, the Adjudicator saw within me something of rare value, as is true for us all. You as well were chosen for our great court, for which I am grateful. As the Fatebinder of War, I rely heavily on your talents. He relies heavily on my talents, apparently. Let's talk about something else. By all means, you are free to pick my mind with enthusiasm. I'm curious about Tunon's masks. They can be rather unsettling, can't they? Even to one such as me. But I can assure you, the innocent need not fear their objective, emotionless gaze. What of the Adjudicator's mask specifically would you like to know? Oh man, I get to know about so many things. Have you ever seen Tunon change his masks? In the way that you or I would change our raiment? No, not as such. And yet I have seen the masks shift. They switch without the Adjudicator or anyone so much as laying a hand on them. It's not something you can watch unfold. After a time, you merely realize it has already happened. There is work enough for the court that we shouldn't occupy ourselves wondering over mysteries. I want to know about the Silent Face. The Silent Face is the face that Tunon shows to us now, and for that we are fortunate beyond belief. Silent Face is a patient face, a face for listening as Tunon presides over all matters brought to the court, taking great pains to ensure all sides of an issue are heard. I want to know about the face of Resolve. Tunon's last known donning of the face of Resolve was the moment he judged and called ruin to half the districts in the Bastard City. Since then, he has ruled our northern tier justly, calmly, and with efficient diplomacy. I want to know about the face that is no more. Tunon is said to have worn a third mask in eons past. I've heard rumor that the face displeased Kairos and thus was destroyed, as happens to all persons and objects that displease our overlord. Alright, I guess Kairos was like, I don't like your face. Let me ask about something else. Well, you've garnered my attention. Could you remind me of the history and origin of the Fatebinders? The seasoned warrior rubs a finger against the line of stubble along his cheek. We are a relatively young order, though we have spanned these past 2 centuries. While the voices of Nerad and Graven Ash need armies to execute their will, Tunon wields but a modest court of vassals. We exist as the extension of his law. There is no place in all of Tyrannus beyond our judgment. Tell me more about Kairos' armies, our allies. Ah, yes, with friends like these, our work is often self-explanatory. Were you asking about the Scarlet Chorus or the Disfavored? The Scarlet Chorus. Scarlet Chorus soldiers hail from every corner of every realm. As the chorus marches, it conscripts indiscriminately from those it has conquered to replenish its ranks. There's no continuity of command in the chorus. Nerad allows, encourages even, the strong to challenge their leaders. But the chorus has numbers, and brute force is almost always a viable solution, much as Rogalis insists otherwise. Besides, the Scarlet Chorus draws strength from the multitudes it swallows. Its blood chanters have taken knowledge from various tiers mystics, and many of the chorus's best soldiers were grown here in the south. What about the Disfavored? Nox says, I wonder if that was a face of sympathy, empathy, mercy, etc. Maybe, Nox. That would kind of make sense with the other, it would, be sort of, it would fit with the other ones. The disfavored are the iron tip of Kairos' great phalanx. Armed with the best weapons, the most comprehensive training, and led by the brilliant Graven Ash, the disfavored have no equals in open battle. The Legion has a saying, Graven Ash protects, and it's no empty boast. The Archon of War is able to lend his will and strength to his soldiers and give them endurance beyond human limits. Who gets to this point in the game and doesn't know what the disfavored and Scarlet Chorus are and needs to be told this stuff? I have great respect for the disfavored, but I know where I stand with them. They are a very close-knit band, all of them from northern families, many of them related to each other. Nunneval sighs, his smile wistful. But considering our role in the great hierarchy, I can't fault General Ash for being selective. Let me ask about something else. I've claimed the spire at Vendrian's Well. So the court's whispers are true. The Fatebinder rubs his fingers along the underside of his chin, pondering his thoughts with great weight. After a moment, he offers you a wistful sort of smile. Someday I would like to witness for myself this tower that is risen above the realms like a blade thrust into the sky. You should be able to witness it just by stepping outside, because allegedly you can see it from anywhere in the fucking realms. I would hear of your past victories in the war, or of recent events. Have you not yet tired of my tales, Seraphina? I do admit I never tire of telling them. He laughs, hearty and deep. Is he the first person in the entire game that's actually called us by name? You were just thinking the whole meet the Scarlet Chorus, meet the disfavored thing was getting old. We all know who their leaders are and what their armies are generally about. I know, right? They really repeat that a whole lot. Like, everybody you talk to, you can be like, what's the Scarlet Chorus? What's the disfavored? And they're gonna fucking tell you. Very well, then. Let me champion the feat... Whoa. Reading is hard. Let me champion the feats of thy conquest. Let the glory of Kairos' reign fall on any ears that would hear of it. You may be interested to know that as of late I've entreated a forge-bound smith to craft me an iron sword, one he claims will not break in battle. However, and rather unfortunately, there appears to be an extended period of delay for the delivery of goods promised, even for a Fatebinder. Yeah, there might have been somebody that called me Fatebinder Seraphina at the beginning. But I don't think anybody's just called my character straight up Seraphina, because these are my co-workers. We're at the exact same rank with each other, so they don't have to call me Fatebinder. In fact, it would be stupid for them to call me Fatebinder. It'd be weird. Police officers don't call each other officer, you know what I'm saying? See, I knew this was going to say something different. I picked the same thing again, and he's telling me something different. If but you could have come with me, my sister, on my latest mission to Haven. It was a rousing venture, rife with bloodshed and intrigue. Inspired by the Vendrian Guard, House Ducenius had a change of heart regarding her loyalties to the Overlord. So I rode without rest on rumors that they had fled to Ardent. Several days of hounding passed before I was able to locate them and rend their bellies. By my blade, the blood that once ruled Haven ran red in her streets. Wow. He just went and killed some fools, then. They're my fellow Inspectores. Yeah, exactly. Let's ask him this thing again. While they may not rival one's glorious feats in battle, I take pride in the small dispenses of justice I manage between my weekly drills and lectures. Just the other day, I pulled the teeth of a liar and strung them about his neck so that he might consider his words with more care in the future. So some of these other Fatebinders are a lot more hardcore and fucking mean than I am, obviously. Any more? Certainly the highest honor bestowed upon me was the right of proclamation. When Kairos decided to punish the disfavored for their refusal to sally forth and finish off the unbroken of Stalwart, I was chosen to read the Edict of Storms. Oh, these are the other Fatebinders that read the edicts if you don't. This is the Edict of Storms guy. Oh, I bet Barrack would love you. Those killing winds of dust, grit, and sword will rage across fallen Stalwart until the ruling regions are broken. They call the realm Bladegrave these days. If you ever visit, you'll no doubt realize why. Nunneval lets out a chuckle. Evidently, one or more of the regions persist in living. Read about the Unbroken already. We've read about the Bladegrave. You have more? I just figured something out. And now I know why there's lots of these things. The word conquest. These are the ones that do the other things you didn't do in the conquest. And these things he's been telling me, these are the choices that were made in conquest because I didn't go and do them. That's what he's telling me about. He's telling me about the other conquest choices and the places that I didn't go. That's what I think, anyway. That's what I think. Yeah, I was wondering that too, Nox. Which Fatebinder? If he's the Fatebinder of War, what am I the Fatebinder of? Maybe I'm the Fatebinder of milk. Or the Fatebinder of cows. I mean, maybe these aren't all just about the conquest, but some of them probably are. Like the one about the Edict of Storms, for sure. I had a recent and inspiring exchange with a few brave men who had trespassed in the old walls. In fact, I haven't enjoyed a spar quite so much in ages. It nearly felt ashamed to put them to the sword for their crimes. This guy's really casual about just killing people. Recently, I've taken to studying the prowess of the southern beastmen, particularly the wild tribes, and have reflected on their potential merit as allies. The Scarlet Chorus is wise to desire their strength, a strength I once faced, and myself barely survived. The disfavored ought to consider arming them for battle rather than merely working them as slaves. It does seem like having the beastmen fight on your side would be pretty good. Does he have more? You've quite exhausted my tales for the moment. When this war is over, we should make a point of strolling across the ashes of the tears and speaking of our triumph. Strolling across the ashes of the tears. Wow, this guy. This fucking guy. That well. Alright, so we have 2 more Fatebinders to talk to. Plus these 3, and these 3. And then, and only then, will we actually go and meet Tunon for the private audience back there in his little throne room area. But all of that good stuff is going to be in our next episode. So if you're watching the stream, I'm not stopping. I'm going to keep on playing for a while. But if you're watching on YouTube, that is going to do it for this episode. So thanks for watching. This has been Josiah Plays Tyranny.